This is VSiN's World Cup Betting Preview Show.
Brilliant goal!
Here are your hosts, Patrick Meagher and Amal Shah.
The biggest, most watched, most prestigious sporting event in the world. 32 teams compete every 4 years. It's a month-long tournament. On the line, history, national, and global pride. Welcome to the World Cup. This is VSiN's World Cup Betting Preview Show. Along with Amal Shah, I'm Patrick Meagher. VSiN insider Nigel Seeley will be joining us in just a little bit. We're going to talk betting the World Cup. It's a special event, Amal, and I'll say hi to you in a second. Coming up, we're going to talk about which countries provide value to win the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, which is certainly a storyline, which players can capture the Golden Boot and Golden Ball, respectively, group stage and knockout stage round betting. Of course, I mentioned Nigel Seeley, but we set it up with you live from Circa, Amal Shah. Let's get to the storylines as we discuss the 2022 World Cup. And right at the top is Qatar. This is going to be our first Winter World Cup. Generally, the World Cup is played in the summer months. The sweltering heat there in Qatar forces this to November. Hi, Amal.
How are you?
Good. Let's talk Qatar and just the idea that even FIFA came out recently and said, maybe we regret the idea of playing there in the Middle East. This is the first World Cup in the Middle East. There's a few reasons for it. There's a lot of question marks. A lot of these European clubs, they're in the middle of club play. So there's not a very big chasm or break heading right into the World Cup.
Well, you're seeing it with some of the teams in the rosters. You've seen some injuries. A key one, for example, with France, Paul Pogba going to miss. I mean, that's a huge blow. Think about how integral he was to the 2018 performance the French had in Russia. You start to look at some of the guys that have some question marks from a health standpoint, Patrick. You want on the world stage to have the best players in the world. And unfortunately right now, whether it's La Liga, Bundesliga, Premier League, whichever league it is, they're all in session right now. And so in the middle of that, everyone's taking an extended break, but you don't have everyone healthy that you normally would when the World Cup goes in June and ends in July.
Well, even a squad like Senegal and Sadio Mane, Bayern Munich, one of the best strikers in the world, he's out, injured just a week ago. And the issue there is they've got a witch doctor in Senegal trying to fix the African champ because this is how much it means to these individual countries. So you mentioned the injuries certainly being an issue. Fitness, the question, a team like Mexico and a country like Mexico, Liga MX, they concluded their club tournament, a month ago. Right. And then you've got others like Bundesliga, as you mentioned, the English Premier League, they're still in the mix. So is that layoff going to help some of these countries, or is it the teams that are coming in hot?
That's a great question, and to be honest with you, I'm not sure because this is the first time we're seeing a World Cup take place in the middle of a season. I know the Bundesliga's got an extended break coming up. Premier League also in England. You're going to see so many teams and games just shelved, obviously, for a little while because so many players are going to be in Qatar playing in the World Cup. So this will be interesting to see how it plays out. I do feel like, though, the fact that the guys are in season, not too far into the middle of their seasons, I think this should help in terms of the quality of play we could see.
Okay, Amal Shah, let's get into the storylines as we head into Qatar 2022 World Cup. And at the very top of the list, maybe the greatest player of all time, the player of his generation, that's Lionel Messi. He's 35. This is his 5th World Cup. He's captured every honor you can possibly capture across the sporting landscape, but this is the pinnacle, and he's always going to be compared to his compatriot there in Argentina, Maradona, who was, of course, the hero of the 86 run for Argentina. This is it for Messi. He comes in great shape.
Well, this is his best chance, and you mentioned it right off the top. I think he has to be able to win this to be able to be up there with the elites, Pelé, Diego Maradona, in terms of what they've been able to do, Zidane for France as well. When you talk about the all-time greats in terms of the pantheon of soccer, you look at the great players, Beckenbauer captaining Germany in '74. You need those types of guys to have those types of results in a situation like this, and this is Messi's opportunity. I think you'll have a tremendous number of people obviously watching as you usually do, but because of the holiday season, I think you'll wind up with a few more people than normal, and I think this is an opportunity for Argentina, who's got a very good squad, and for Lionel Messi to kind of separate himself from, one of the challengers in his generation in terms of Ronaldo, because remember, Ronaldo and company, even though Ronaldo didn't play in the European Cup final, they still won. Portugal did, and he was key in getting them there. This is Messi's opportunity at the international level.
And we'll get to the board in just a bit, but Argentina, as you mentioned, great squad, probably Messi's best opportunity. Remember, Argentina runners up to Germany in 2014. You take a look, it's 550 plus 550, your second betting favorites for Argentina. We'll get to the board in a second. We're going straight to the groups. Remember, Amal Shah, 32 teams, 8 groups, 4 teams apiece. The top 2 qualify. And we're going to start with Group A. This is arguably the easiest group in the 2022 World Cup. Of course, Qatar got there not by qualifying for the tournament, but by being the host nation. Ecuador got there after finishing 4th in the South American qualifications. So you look at the top 2 favorites there. Of course, the Netherlands, big-time favorites, and Senegal, favorites as well. Take a look to win Group A. Netherlands minus 225. Your second betting favorite plus 350. Senegal. I mentioned at the top, the big story for Senegal, their best player, Sadio Mane, he got injured right before the tournament started. They've got a witch doctor working on him. If he doesn't go, that's going to be tough for Senegal.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're talking about one of the elite players in the world. We saw the success he has had at Liverpool, now doing the same thing for Bayern. It's been unbelievable what he's been able to do. But remember on the back end, they've got Eduardo Mendy in net, tremendous goalie. This Senegalese team could be very dangerous here in this group when you look at it. Ecuador, to me, is a question mark. I don't believe Qatar is going to go anywhere. At best, I think Qatar is lucky if they get a point. Qatar is a team I would look to bet they're under on points in this group stage here. And then, of course, a clockwork orange, Patrick, when you look at it, this Dutch team, one of my favorite players in the world in the back, and probably the best sweeper in the world, Virgil van Dijk. You look in the midfield there, this team is dangerous. Cody Gakpo, if you're not familiar with him, he's a guy over at PSV Eindhoven, very dangerous. He's going to probably be on the move in the January transfer window, and a lot of people are going to want him. And then, of course, Memphis Depay at the top. This team is going to be dangerous. Now, remember, this is a Dutch club that has had great success but never been able to get over the top. They have talent. My question is the goalkeeping for them. If they can put that together, not only are they going to advance in this group and win comfortably here, I think they've got a shot to be able to potentially get all 9 points in the group stage. But I think this is one to keep an eye out for as you get towards the knockout round.
Ecuador just dries up when it comes to goals. I don't think they're going to be able to score. Yeah. Can we agree it's going to be the Netherlands and Senegal advancing here?
I would agree with you on that one, yes.
Okay, let's get to Group B here on the VSiN World Cup Preview Betting Show. The 3 Lions are winning this group, so let's jump into it right away. England, Iran, the United States, and Wales. The real question is which team will finish second in the group. To qualify right now, the U.S., I believe, is minus $1.05. Okay, so let's get into it. Wales, 19th. In the world, Gareth Bale. You know how dominant they can be. Nigel Seeley, we're going to have him discussing this group in just a second, but an overview, Amal Shah on Group B.
Yeah, you know, I'm hoping the United States comes through here, but I don't think the USMNT is quite at the level that you're going to see out of 3 Lions. You mentioned it, Jordan Pickford in net for this team. It's going to be tremendous, but to me, the big thing is when you look at the elite level talent that they have at all levels in the back line, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Kyle Walker back there in the midfield there, Declan Rice, and then, of course, up front, Harry Kane, Marcus Rashford, Raheem Sterling. They've got a plethora of options there for Garrett Southgate's team. This team's going to be extremely dangerous. I think this group is going to come down to England going first, and then Wales and the United States matchup is going to be crucial. Can the United States keep that team off the score sheet? If they can do that, and they had some difficulty on defense in the qualifying stages, if they can do that, I think they've got a great shot to be the second team to be able to advance. And then, of course, you've got the bottom of the rung here in terms of this group is going to be Iran. I think they're going to struggle when you look at the rest of the talent that these 3 teams possess.
Most goals scored in the tournament goes Golden Boot. In 18, that was England's Harry Kane. Of course, Raheem Sterling, Phil Foden. Nobody cares more about the country as far as England about this tournament. Do you like them long-term in the tournament once they get to the knockout stage, England?
You know, I'm concerned when the pressure gets ramped up as we get to the group of 8 and then, down to the semifinals. I don't know if they're going to be able to answer the bell. I know they're going to start playing It's Coming Home before we even get to the knockout stage. But, this is one thing you got to pay attention to with the 3 Lions. Can they really deliver when the chips are down? They haven't been able to do it, whether it's in the European Cup or in terms of with the World Cup. So I would say no in terms of being able to lift the hardware.
Okay, let's take a look from Nigel Seeley, VSiN Soccer Insider, breaking down Group B.
I think England will run away with the group. I think England's a good bet to win the group. You're not going to get rich betting them at minus $2.50 or something like that. but I think they are going to win it. They're the class act in the group. England couldn't have been given an easier passage through. And I don't mean to be disrespectful to the Team USA, but I think the first game against Wales is going to be crucial for them. Whoever gets anything from that game, I think, will be in a box seat to finish second to England. But I think England will win it. I think it's between the Welsh and the USA in terms of who's going to come second. And I actually edge Wales. And the reason why I edge Wales to come second is because they play England in the final game of the group section. Now, at that stage, I think England could have already qualified. And when you see in World Cups that teams have already qualified, they tend to put out a second string team. They tend to take it easy. And I think the Wales have been very handed a very positive fixture list there. So I think that Wales will probably edge it. Unfortunately, sorry to be saying that about Team USA and the American side, but I think they're going to finish third in this group. Bottom, without doubt, Iran. But I think England are the team to beat. They will win it. England first, Wales second. Unfortunately, USA third, and fourth, Iran.
Okay, let's go to Group D. We can make this one easy. The champions of the world, that being France, they're going to win this group. Next, Denmark, Australia, Tunisia. I don't know if you have to necessarily be concerned with them. I've got France on top, Denmark runners-up in Group D. What say you?
I would agree with you that the French are just too good, even without Pogba in the lineup. Kylian Mbappe, Karim Benzema, Olivier Giroud. You look at this team, the talent, Varane in the back. I mean, there's just too much talent here for this team. I think they'll be able to get through here. Didier Deschamps' team should be able to defend at least into the knockout stage. Hopefully, if they can get a little bit healthier, they could be even more dangerous going forward. You mentioned Denmark. I'll take the Danes over the Socceroos here simply because Kasper Schmeichel in net. I think he's a difference maker for this Danish team in terms of what he's able to do there in between the pipes. And then I'll go with Australia finishing out third, and then Tunisia here fourth.
Okay, I've got Argentina, your second betting favorite, winning the World Cup in 2022 there in Qatar. They got the monkey off their back in Copa America, beating Brazil last year. I think that's huge. Messi's swan song. He settled in at Paris. Yeah. Club play has been great. Again, I think it's a good mix of young and old. I like this Argentina. I don't think they're quite as deep as Brazil, but I think top tier, I think they're there. I've got Argentina winning the 2022 World Cup.
I think it's a great pick. I think they're very solid. The second betting favorite, as you mentioned earlier, you mentioned Messi's success at PSG. But for me, I'm going to go with one of his teammates from PSG. I'm going to go with Neymar and the Brazilians. They haven't won in 20 years, which is a long lapse for the Brazilian side. I think this team will come in focused. I think they're tremendous at all three levels. I think when you look at their ability, particularly up front, that's where the difference is going to be. I like this Brazilian side. When I look at the European sides, I generally favor European teams because they defend better than the South American teams do. But I just don't see an elite squad from Europe right now. France, we mentioned, dinged up. England's got some question mark. Can they deliver? England has talent, but can they deliver? And then Germany is just not the same German teams we're used to in 2014 and some of the years in the past where you've had elite level, world-class players, particularly in the back line, or even whether it was a Miroslav Klose or Thomas Müller. You just don't have those guys that are able to deliver at that level anymore. So for me, I'm going to go with the Brazilians here.